Shane, Shane, Shane. Shane, 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 Shane. A-L-A-N-Allen. A-L-A-N-Allen. Allen, 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 Allen.
A lot has gone on, as in, like, I had myself muted this whole time. Hey, how are you, everybody? How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing a little bit better than Tulane and James Madison and Oklahoma.
Well, James Madison's dead.
Texas A&M and the Bears offensive coordinators. And the Packers offensive coordinator. I'm doing better than all the. Hey, everybody! It's really weird for us to be doing the show with an NFL game happening. Is it this Saturday? What's going on?
I know. Next year, they're going to have a game on Wednesday, a game on Tuesday. There's going to be a game. Granted, I'm sure it's going to happen. Just you wait. Every single day of the week, there's going to be an NFL game. Just wait. It's going to happen at some point.
I'm not even mad. You know, I get it. I'm not even mad. Let's be honest. Yeah. If it wasn't for college football, there would just be an NFL game.
Oh, yeah.
Every single day of the week. I'll tell you another day of the week that there's an NFL game, which, of course, is Thursday Night Football, which I don't know if, Shane, if you and I have discussed this before. I know that it's kind of been a meme out there that Thursday Night Football, ever since Amazon got the rights to Thursday Night Football and they're streaming it on Prime and on Twitch, the Thursday Night Football games have kind of sucked. And I get that the games are scheduled in advance, and there's no way that the NFL could possibly know for a certainty that all those teams are going to be bad when they schedule them. But generally, Thursday Night Football games have been bad. And for the first time ever, two teams combining for 22 wins played on Thursday Night Football a couple of nights ago. The Seattle Seahawks and LA Rams fighting for whoever wins is controlling their destiny to the number one seed in the NFC. And let me tell you this, Shane.
Okay.
Matthew Stafford throws for 457 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Dang.
Puka Nacua gets 225 of that and 2 scores on 12 catches. They're +3 in turnover margin. Yeah. They have a 16-point lead with just over 8 minutes to play. And they end the game with 4.5 minutes time of possession. With all of that information, how much did the Rams win by?
At least 3 touchdowns, right?
So close. It's the Seahawks 38, Rams 37. What in the world happened in that game?
Yeah, because I was seeing the jokes on Twitter. Oh, Sam Darnold's going to Sam Darnold. Here he comes with the Sam Darnold all over again.
And to be fair, he did Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
He Sam Darnold for like 3.5 quarters. That's totally true. He had 2 interceptions and they had a fumble. There's another stat I didn't realize. So for an 11-win team with 3 weeks to go now, 12-win team now, the Seattle Seahawks as a team lead the NFL in fumbles. And now Sam Darnold is 3rd in the league in total interceptions, and numbers 1 and 2, Tua and Geno, are benched. They're out. Sam Darnold might finish the season as the season interception leader, and the Seahawks finish leading the league in fumbles, and they're the number 1 seed in the NFC. How is that possible?
That's crazy. I mean, he's got great players around him, a great defense. You know, you can go far with all that when your quarterback is playing, apparently throwing a lot of interceptions. But hey, you know, the other team's not scoring any points, so give it to them.
It's been very feast or famine. Now, here's the interesting thing. With the Rams having inexplicably lost to the Panthers a couple of weeks ago, and then now dropping this game to Seattle, which, by the way, these teams played about a month ago. And in that game, it was 21-19 Rams in LA, in a game where Seattle had 5 turnovers in that game. And they still had a 62-yard game winner that was just short and wide that would have still won the game at -5 in turnover differential. So the moral of the story is that, and I believe we talked about this in our community Discord, Seattle is the kind of team where if they literally had 0 turnovers for the next 5 weeks, they'd win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But you feel like basically any time now they lose, it's over. They lose because Sam Darnold can't stop himself. But to be fair, they also can't stop fumbling either. Here's one last little factoid for Thursday night. The Seahawks were all-time 0 wins and 172 losses when trailing by 15 or more in the fourth quarter. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now they are 1 and 172.
Let's go. All right.
Yes.
There you go. Get that off your back.
Last quick note. I know you have a lot to say about this. While the Rams have an easier finishing schedule, the Seahawks with the win now control their destiny for the number 1 seed. But they sure have an interesting Week 18 game against the San Francisco 49ers.
I haven't looked ahead. Okay. Okay, yeah. There you go. Yeah. That's gonna be
Could the 49ers play spoiler? Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. And one last thing before we move on. So another thing that I learned too is that, man, the Seahawks are just a crazy team this year, aren't they? The Seahawks are the first team in NFL history with 3 successful 2-point conversions in the fourth quarter or OT of a victory. So there you go. Seattle just continues to make history. Look at that. They're Super Bowl bound already. Come on.
They don't win that game without scoring 24 points in the last 8 minutes in overtime.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
But they did. So I don't know. It's so weird. It's so easy to talk about all the crazy things that Seattle did to win that game. There's also the 31-yard reverse by Shaheed, that they just got from New Orleans at the trade deadline. He also returned, that same guy also returned a punt for a touchdown. If anything, they were able to come back and tie the game so fast that both teams still had 2 possessions apiece in the fourth quarter before they went to overtime, because they actually scored their 16 points in a matter of like a minute and a half, which is ridiculous. But we're talking about all the Seattle stuff. How do the Rams go up? That they were up 9 and then scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter to go up by 16 with 8 minutes and some change to play, and lost the game. It's interesting that Matthew Stafford, and we've talked a lot about Matthew Stafford. Here's a guy that with that performance, he may have just solidified himself as this year's MVP, but it's in a loss because somehow that's a losing effort. So I if you had asked me a few weeks ago who the favorite was, I would have said Rams, but playing that well and losing, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, you know what? Puka Nacua shouldn't have been on with Aiden Ross, right? It's cursed. They're cursed.
I guess.
Yeah.
Quick playoff update. ESPN did something really interesting this week, which was they updated the big charts that we've been showing the last few weeks with percent chances to win division, number 1 seed, all that stuff. Right. But what they did, since there's only a couple of weeks left in the season, is they actually went ahead and went out and simulated all of the rest of the games for the rest of the year, which is just a few more weeks. And they're basing that based on their FPI rankings or percentages and overall records and all that. And so for the AFC, they are predicting that the Denver Broncos will get the number 1 seed in the playoffs over the Patriots, largely based on the fact that the Patriots just dropped that insane second half collapse to the Buffalo Bills. But also one of the more difficult games the Broncos had remaining, the Kansas City Chiefs, suddenly is not as difficult. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Yeah. That leaves the Patriots at 13-4 in the second spot. The Houston Texans not only making the playoffs, but actually snagging the AFC South division over the Jaguars. The Jaguars do have a little bit of a tough remaining schedule. Including playing the Broncos this weekend. And then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers in the number 4 seed. That leaves the Buffalo Bills as the top wild card, and then Jaguars, and then Chargers, both being 11-6. For what it's worth, the first team out would be the Indianapolis Colts. They would be, unfortunately, of course, as soon as Danny Dimes went down, we kind of figured that was a good chance that would happen. Yeah. So if you're wondering what that makes the playoffs, the Denver Broncos would have the bye. And it would be Chargers at Patriots. I think the Patriots would probably be a solid favorite at home, though they did just collapse at home as well.
Yeah.
That would be Jaguars at Texans. So the AFC South teams would be rematching a third time in the season. And that would be, and here's an interesting one though. That would put the 5 seed Bills at the 4 seed Steelers. Now, because the Steelers win a division, even though they're only 10-7, they would be hosting a playoff game. However, I think we all know that the Steelers are probably the weakest team in that whole list. It's just they're going to win the AFC North.
Right.
But the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, who just had that stunning come from behind win against the Patriots, maybe a little bit too late to win the division, but impressive nonetheless. There's no Joe Burrow, no Lamar Jackson, no Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
If there was ever going to be a year that Josh Allen could get the monkey off its back, it would be the year where he doesn't have to play any of the monkeys. And I mean that in a non-racist way, by the way, but Joe Burrow's white, so sue me. He doesn't have to play any of those teams. And so if he can beat these other up and coming younger teams, then this is the year for the Bills. I feel like if the Bills don't make a serious run this year, if they're not at least back in the AFC Championship this year, I just don't think it happens. I just don't think it happens under that regime, under Mike McDermott, Joe Philbin, Josh Allen led offense. You know, I just don't see it happening if it doesn't happen this year. Real quick, NFC side, they actually still predict that the Rams are going to win the number 1 seed, despite the loss against the Seahawks. And the reason is that the Seahawks have a more challenging end of the season. They're playing at Panthers, and you think that that's a joke, but the Panthers did just beat the Rams a couple of weeks ago. Yep. And then they have to finish the season against the 49ers. You and I have talked for weeks that the 49ers trying to make the playoffs don't want to have to play the Seahawks the last week. Or maybe the Seahawks aren't trying that hard because their seed is assured.
Right.
But if they're playing for the number 1 seed, then both of those teams, I mean, that's the Super Bowl for both teams. That's going to be a big game, huge game. So they're predicting that the Rams are going to win out the rest of the way, but that the Seahawks are going to lose to the 49ers. That is what this is based on. The 49ers win that game. So that's Rams 1. And surprisingly, the Bears are playing the Packers as we speak. Literally right now, it is 3-0 Green Bay with a minute and change left in the second quarter. And the Bears just got a big stop. It's 3rd and goal, Green Bay at the 5. If the Bears can win at home, the Bears will catapult back up to the 2 seed. Now, if they lose, it's going to be Packers. But right now, we're going to say Bears win. It's Bears. Philadelphia Eagles are 3rd. Tampa Bay's 4th. Eagles did win earlier today against the Redskins for people who love Saturday NFL football. That puts the Seahawks at 5, the 49ers at 6, and the Packers at 7. Again, if the Packers win this game and the Bears lose, flip-flop those two. In fact, my gut is that it's going to be Packers 2, Bears 7, but they have Bears 2, Packers 7. That puts LA Rams having the bye. It'll be Seattle if they win out, but Rams if they don't. That would be, once again, amazingly, that would actually just be Packers and Bears again playing 3 times in the last 4 weeks of the season. It'll be Bears Packers, another game, Bears Packers, another game, Bears Packers. That would be 49ers at Philadelphia. That's a rematch of the NFC title game a few years back, isn't it?
Don't remind me.
49ers Eagles? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, Purdy's not broken this time. And that then is the sweet spot here is if Seattle doesn't get the number 1 seed. Don't get me wrong, you want to have the number 1 seed. You get a bye week. If you can't have the number 1 seed and you're the top seeded wild card team, then you're playing the lowest seeded divisional winner. That's Seahawks at Bucks. Now remember, the Seahawks and Bucks played earlier this year, and the Bucks won. But the Bucks are not the Bucks. The Bucks have lost a million straight games. They're not the same team anymore. Assuming the Bucks beat the Panthers and even get in the playoffs, it would be Seahawks Bucks. Again, if you're flipping a couple of those teams around, that would be Rams Bucks, and it would be Bears going to the Packers versus Packers going to the Bears.
Yeah.
But either way, you're having multiple rematches again from earlier this season. I'll tell you what, just without saying anything else, I think those are pretty good looking playoffs to me.
Yeah, I mean, so with the AFC, I do think that I mean, I would safely bet that Denver Broncos will probably be number one, right? But
yes,
out of all those teams, though, the Houston Texans, that team is scary. I mean, their defense is so damn good. I mean, man, if that defense alone is most likely what's going to carry that team to a Super Bowl appearance or even a win. Who knows? But man, so if we were to go with the numbers that they have, 3, they'd be going against, the Jaguars, right? So that's a very easy, well, not easy, but a very doable win there for the Texans. Now, if they, win that game and whoever they face, let's just, for example, they have to face, they have to face, I don't know, the Buffalo Bills, as an example, the Buffalo Bills. That right there, when you're talking about Josh Allen, this is the time Josh Allen can make it to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Here you go. Go face possibly the best defense in the league. If you can beat them, then I think it's pretty much smooth sailing for you then. So
I think the only reason that more people are sleeping on the Texans is just the simple fact that if you look at the last 10 years, there's only been 2 Super Bowl champions out of the last decade that didn't also have a top 10 offense.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that defense doesn't win championships. It totally does. It's the way you play, run the ball, stop the run, play defense in January. That's how you win a Super Bowl. With that said, it was actually the 2015 Broncos, which did have a historic defense in Peyton Manning's last year. And then I think it was just a few years ago, the Eagles team of a few years back. Those teams were the only teams that weren't also top 6 in offense. The Texans are a long way from top 6 in offense.
For sure.
They're so bad on offense that it's foreseeable that their defense can hold the other team to 16 points and they could lose.
Yeah.
That's how much they've struggled with, particularly with CJ Stroud. I hate to call him out like that, but the reality of it is that if they've lost any games this year, it's because the offense just couldn't score points.
Yeah.
Same thing, again, going back to the Seahawks. The Seahawks have a top 3 scoring defense right now, particularly late in the season. If they can just stop turning the ball over, which also puts their defense in bad field position, right? On top of not scoring points. If they could just stop turning the ball over with what is also a top tier scoring defense, again, if they go a month without Darnold throwing an interception, they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean it. I'm serious, Tim, but they could win the Super Bowl. If Joe Flacco can get hot for 4 weeks and the Ravens can win the Super Bowl, Sam Darnold can win the Super Bowl.
In San Francisco's home territory, Levi Stadium, Seattle or LA Rams win the Super Bowl there. Oh, 49ers fans are never going to hear the end of it. Hey, guess who won the Super Bowl over there?
That is very true.
Yeah.
That is very true. Moving on to our Week 16 Q&A, we're going to talk about a little bit the lows of the lows heading into the end of the season. And now that we've talked about some of the highs of the playoff race, we're going to start with quarterbacks. Tua Tagovailoa has officially been benched by Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins. It seems that barring injury, Tua's season is over. He was moved to 3rd string behind the new starter, Quinn Ewers, the rookie out of Texas. And it doesn't even matter it doesn't even matter who 2nd string is because that guy's never going to get a chance to play. Listen to this. Tua has been benched, but he's only the latest potentially looking for a new home. Since week 10, he is 30th in QBR and 24th in passing yards. He leads the league with 15 interceptions. He's statistically only ahead of Cam Ward, Geno Smith, and J.J. McCarthy in QBR right now. Of course, Quinn Ewers, 7th round pick out of Texas, is going to start this weekend against the Bengals. Ironic. Now, these are both teams that have been recently eliminated from the playoffs, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of effort comes out. But there's also notable season starters potentially looking for new homes next season. Joining Tua, of course, you have Geno Smith for the Las Vegas Raiders, who is also not playing. You have Justin Fields of the Jets. Joe Flacco, who, of course, was traded to help the Bengals save their season, but Joe Burrow's back healthy. Joe Flacco's back on the bench. You also have Kyler Murray, the Arizona Cardinals, who's been shut down for the year. And also, it's also worth mentioning some notable backups who are potentially auditioning for a new role next year. Those would include, of course, the aforementioned Jacoby Brissett of Arizona taking over for Kyler Murray. Kirk Cousins, who's played out the season for Atlanta and played arguably better than Michael Penix. And, of course, your Mac Jones. Funny side story. Did you know Mac Jones still leads the 49ers in passing going into Week 16?
Crazy. Absolutely.
He still
crazy.
does.
Yeah.
So of all of those, so tell me your thoughts on the benching of Tua, and then of that big long list of quarterbacks, which one of those guys do you think will still be starting but somewhere else?
Man, I mean, geez. Yeah, I think with Tua, and I may have mentioned this before, I'm sure you have too. I think it's it for Tua in Miami. I don't see him being. I mean, well, actually, no, that's not true because his contract is crazy. He has a crazy contract.
Yes.
So I don't know. Like financially speaking, they may not even be able to move him. They may have to just find someone. Like if this Quinn Ewers guy, if he plays well, he could possibly be the starter next season. I mean, that's probably crazy to say, but who knows? But to answer your question, in terms of yeah.
I want to mention, you mentioned his contract situation. So it was just last year, 2024, he signed a 4-year, $212 million extension.
Crazy.
That's 53.1 annually, 167.2 fully guaranteed.
God, and you're benching him for the last money is just burning away.
Yeah,
Mike. This is probably Mike McDaniel. I don't know how he stays with Miami after this. I mean, even if this new quarterback does play well, it's over for him, right? Like, how can you save your season? Even if you do win the next games at the end of the season, Mike McDaniel's gone. He's probably going to be the offensive assistant with Kyle Shanahan next season. I don't know.
Here's the thing is that a lot of talk has been made of the fact that he hasn't been fired yet, that the GM was let go, but he's still there, and that the ownership apparently are big Mike McDaniel fans. But you're right. Even though there at least has been some semblance of hope, especially with kind of their late season winning streak that they went on there, which, to be clear, it wasn't because of Tua. They were winning in spite of Tua. That's one of the reasons he's getting benched. But yeah, you're right that at the end of the day, even though there has been signs of life there, and that people in the locker room and then in the building might like McDaniel, the fact of the matter is that he himself tied his destiny to Tua. He was the one continuing to stick by Tua during his struggles in recent years. He lobbied for Tua to maintain the starting job and get that extension. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to see them eat that kind of dead money or even be giving anyone else a tryout at the position, knowing how much of their salary cap would be on the bench and not deal with the head coach. And also, by the way, if you do fire Mike McDaniel, the new coach coming in is not going to want to have to be saddled with Tua. They're going to want to bring in their own people.
Right.
So it's not only is this hard for Mike McDaniel, but whether he goes or stays, I think Tua, I just don't see how you get benched for a rookie like whatever 7th rounder like Quinn Ewers. If Quinn Ewers is even mediocre, I just don't see how Tua survives. I think Tua needs a change of scenery. Yeah. But then again, who's dying to have Tua? Who's dying to have the guy who can't stay on the field and who leads the league in interceptions?
Well, I'm gonna be the crazy 49er fan here. What if? What if?
Okay.
What if?
I'm listening.
Mac Jones played great, right? He played great for the Niners. What if, hey, Miami, we'll give you Tua. The Niners will take Tua. And the 49ers will give Mac Jones, but then they'll also take like a draft pick. So they'll take like Tua and a 2nd rounder for Mac Jones because Kyle Shanahan has this thing is that I can take Tua and I can make him look good. Yeah, I can do that.
So I agree with you that Mac Jones goes to Miami, but Tua doesn't go to San Francisco. Tua goes to his house. That's where Tua goes.
Yeah. Well, look, I didn't answer your question at the beginning here. In terms of like players who could be starting at a new place, I mean, Justin Fields, really, I've been saying this before. I think it's done. Like we're done with the Justin Fields thing.
Okay. So Fields out. Fields is out. Okay.
Geno Smith played so poorly with the Raiders. Where would he go after this? I mean,
All right. Geno's out. Just Fields is out. With Joe Flacco, I think Joe Flacco is still fun to watch, but he's old and only getting older. I don't think he wants to bounce around the league. I think he's done. I think he was only with the Browns because that was the only place that made sense. And then he only went to the Bengals, but Joe Burrow's back. So unless Joe Burrow retires from football, which might happen if you heard Joe Burrow talk, but unless Joe Burrow quits tomorrow, I think Joe Flacco's out of here. That leaves Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Kyler, I mean, the new coach there, Jonathan Gannon, has just been a disaster over there. And Kyler Murray just hasn't lived up to expectations. He was the number 1 overall pick over Nick Bosa because the coach there, Cliff Kingsbury, is like, I want Kyler. And then he got Kyler, and then it didn't work out too well. Where would Kyler go? Minnesota? Where's he going to go? New Orleans? I mean, if they really like Tyler Shook, because I mean, apparently they seem to like him over there. Is he going to go there? Where would Kyler go? Hey, maybe he'll go to Miami. Maybe they can switch with Tua and Kyler, and then they can continue on with mediocrity.
Of that remaining list, I want to say really quick, I think that Kirk Cousins and Jacoby Brissett could be quality backups for most teams, but I don't think they're realistically vying for a starting gig again. I think most teams would rather roll the dice with a young rookie to see if they can develop their own talent than to start either of those guys for because at the end of the day, would you sign either of them to like a 3-year, $80 million deal? To me, no, there's no way. So that only leaves Mac Jones. Now, Mac Jones, on the other hand, who's still quite young and still leading the 49ers in passing, I think Mac Jones is a starter for another team next year. I do.
Yeah, I mean, the Niners did sign him to a 2-year contract, which, I mean, it probably doesn't really mean anything. They signed him for 2 years, but they can still trade him or whatever. But there was maybe a slim chance that Matt could stay if he really likes what's going on in San Francisco. Like, I'm going to stay with Kyle for another year, see what's going on, and then we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, they could definitely trade him for a second and a 4th rounder or another quarterback. I don't know, but yeah, I can definitely see him out of all the names mentioned, definitely a starter next year for sure.
I think that there will be at least a half a dozen teams who are in the market for a new quarterback, but they don't have the draft capital to go up to the top to get one of the best guys. And it's going to make more sense for them to just sign Mac Jones to like a 3-year deal and see what happens.
And I don't think the draft is even that QB heavy, right? There's only like maybe 2 or 3 that are out right now.
Everybody thinks Mendoza out of Indiana is the truth, and he's going to be a Las Vegas Raider. That's what that.
Oh, congratulations! Sorry. Yeah, go play.
Yeah, congratulations. You are a Raider. You can join Genty on the bench, not getting any carries. Really quick, because we're running out of time. Not only are there a lot of troubles at the QB position, also a couple of late season ending injuries. We talked about Daniel Jones a week or two ago, where it's a double whammy of not only does he tear the Achilles, he's out for the year, that sucks for the Colts, but it's such a devastating injury happening late in the season that now you're thinking ahead to, well, is he going to be ready for week 1? Is he going to miss a few weeks? What are we talking next year? Should we even sign him to a long-term deal, not being sure what he's going to look like when he comes back? Those are serious questions. Patrick Mahomes. Not only is the season over because they lost another ugly game to the Chargers to drop to 6-8 on the season, they are eliminated from the playoffs. But on top of that, he tore his ACL. So it's double over now. Now, with an ACL, they are targeting him being back just in time for week 1. That means no training camp, no preseason. He's back for week 1. Now, obviously, I think Mahomes is a good veteran enough quarterback that he's the kind of guy that can miss that time and still be ready for week 1. But he's never had this type of adversity before. And Travis Kelce's probably retiring. They're a losing team. So there's going to be some serious turnover across the roster because they are a losing team. We're not even sure if Andy Reid's going to come back and coach this team.
Yeah.
So a lot of uncertainty for Kansas City.
Yeah. I mean, look, Patrick Mahomes, I wouldn't worry about him having a training camp because, I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes, right? That's what everyone says. Oh, it's Patrick Mahomes. And we've been saying it. Other people have been saying it. Hey, the Chiefs are going to hit their stride, right? They're going to hit their stride, and then they don't hit their stride. And now it's just the wheels have fallen off. It's over. Their season's completely done for. And yeah, that's a good point about Andy Reid. He could retire because it's like, well, hey, I got this team to 3 Super Bowl wins and 5 Super Bowl appearances. I think I'm good. Who would be that? That could be a huge coaching vacancy there.
It's hard to on the one hand, it's hard to imagine Andy Reid leaving on this note. On the other hand, it's hard to imagine Andy Reid having it in him to want to coach for, like, say, 5 more years to turn the ship around. I mean,
right.
He's not getting any younger. And let's be honest. It doesn't matter that Mahomes is hurt. It doesn't matter that Travis Kelce is looking old and slow. They're 6-8. It's not like 1 or 2 pieces made the difference. They're 6-8. They were not a good team. They were a losing team. They were going to be 6-8 even if Mahomes' knee was healthy. So yes, definitely issues in Kansas
Their
City.
offensive line for sure is they need to upgrade that big, like bad.
And also an honorable mention that's actually going to make a way bigger difference for the end of the season here. A team that's not 6-8 is the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. The Green Bay Packers, literally as we speak, are leading the Bears 6-0 at halftime. Very tightly contested game. The Packers are 9-4-1. The Bears are 10-4. The winner of this game is going to have a leg up to win the NFC North, probably a number 2 seed in the NFC. And the Packers are without one Micah Parsons. Also an ACL, another one of those just kind of wonky non-contact. You just see the knee pop and he's down, and you know it as soon as you see it. Mm-hmm. Really tough to see. I hate that for him, obviously. Having a good season. You know, he may not have the kind of gaudy numbers that Myles Garrett has put up in Cleveland this year. But he still had 12.5 sacks on the season. It still definitely changed the entire aggressiveness of the roster for Green Bay. Ironically enough, as we're discussing this, Malik Willis is in at quarterback for the Packers because Jordan Love was knocked out. But that being neither here nor there in live breaking news, with Micah Parsons out for a team that does have postseason aspirations, this hurts. I'm not going to lie. This hurts big time for Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, the score is 6-0 at halftime. So as of right now, that the defense is doing its job, but I guess Caleb Williams is being not the good Caleb Williams version right now. So, who knows if it's actually the defense or Caleb just not playing well. But yeah, that's a huge loss. Micah Parsons, they obviously made that trade with the Cowboys, and so far it's looking like both teams are enjoying what they have. But injuries coming back to bite some ass, not in a good way.
Well, on that note, this is an interesting week of picks because you have about half the games this week are pretty much totally irrelevant. Between teams that have been eliminated, it makes absolutely no difference to the league whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then the other half of the games are hot. We got some huge games this week that are going to have major playoff implications. We're going to kick things off with Tampa Bay Buccaneers going on the road to play the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are actually +3 underdogs at home. That's kind of interesting. Both of these teams have struggled recently, but the Bucs have struggled more. Yeah. Carolina has been the team to play their way into the situation, but it's definitely a situation where I don't think either of these teams are going to make some serious noise in the postseason, but somebody has to win the NFC North. Please someone win this division. I think Vegas considers the Bucs to still be the better team, but I'm not so sure that the Panthers should be home dogs. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Well, I can see them splitting it because they play this tomorrow. But the funny thing is then they play at the end of the season. So it's just like, oh, man, what a great time to have literally the NFC North, NFC South on the line, where literally the last game of the season could pretty much be the winner of that division. So, yeah.
The Bucs have lost 6 of their last 8 games, but they're 3-point favorites in Carolina.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I don't like that. Look, I'm not banging the drum for Carolina, by the way. I'm just saying the Bucs are in a complete tailspin right now. What's funny is that the Panthers just lost to the Saints. But what's even funnier is the Bucs also just lost to the Saints. So to our friend Lyle, go Saints. Yeah, the Saints are actually going to finish with a 500 or better record in the NFC South. It's kind of funny.
Let's go.
Yeah, you can't cuck the shuck. Then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars going on the road to play the Denver Broncos. Denver right now is favored to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. They're only 3.5 point favorites in this game. And if that seems low, you haven't noticed that the Jacksonville Jaguars are actually kind of all right. They're a shockingly above average team. I'm not sure I'm quite ready to say the Jags are good, but the Jags are competitive. See, the Jags have also won their last 5 and 6 of their last 7. That's hella good.
That's good.
Including wins over the Colts and Chargers, a narrow loss to the Texans. They did have a blowout loss to the Rams, but that was a while back. They beat the 49ers. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Texans earlier. They beat the Chargers. They beat the Colts. I mean, the Jaguars aren't a bad team. So it's not, I'm not surprised that line is that low. But I do think the Broncos are playing for the number 1 seed. If they want the number 1 seed, you beat the Jaguars. If you lose to the Jaguars at home, you're not going to be a number 1 seed. That's kind of where it's at. So I'm definitely gonna go Broncos, but the Jaguars do belong in the postseason. That is not a fluke.
What's that saying that they have now about the Jaguars with teams if they want to
if you don't like the Jaguars being ranked ahead of you in my power rankings, quit losing to the Jaguars.
Yeah,
they just keep doing it, Shane.
Yeah,
they just keep losing to them.
Not listening to you.
Yeah. La 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 la. Yeah. The next game we have the Pittsburgh Steelers going on the road to play the Detroit Lions. Now this is a little bit more, in my opinion, of a kind of slanted game. The Lions have to win a game somewhere at the end of the season, or they might miss the playoffs. Yeah. Their destiny is not set in stone. They are 3-3 over their last 6. They're 4-4 over their last 8. They're 5-5 over their last 10. They somehow turned into a thoroughly mediocre team. However, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Detroit Lions are a thoroughly mediocre team who they're now behind the Packers and Bears. As much as it's weird to say that the Bears are in that, the Bears are ahead of the Lions right now. The Packers swept the Lions this year.
Yeah.
The Lions can't afford to drop more pointless games. And for their part, the Steelers, they just beat the Ravens, and they know as long as they hold off the Ravens, they're in the playoffs. All the Steelers have to do is make it to the playoffs ahead of the Ravens. That's all they have to do. Whereas the Lions still have some work that they need to do. Otherwise, they're at serious risk here of dropping out entirely. But the Lions are 7-point favorites. That's
kind of surprising.
Know. Yeah, it seems a little big. Yeah. Oh my God. Let me tell you the Lions. The Lions are the most 49ers team that ever was outside of San Francisco. Let me see, their previous 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me tell you the results of their previous 10 games. It is win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So they're due for a win.
Apparently, I mean, and also after they face the Steelers, they got to face the Vikings and Bears. And the Vikings, look, they're not in the playoffs, so they're eliminated. So the Vikings will have nothing to lose when they play the Lions. They're going to give them everything they got. So that'll be a tough game for them. And then, of course, the Bears at the end of the season.
Yeah,
I mean, the Lions, they got a tough road ahead of them. So it's going to be tough. But the fact that they are 7 points up, that's kind of high. I would expect this to be actually a really close game.
I think the Lions will win, but not cover. However, it's worth mentioning in ESPN's projections, the Lions missed the playoffs. They are the number 8 team out of 7 seeds. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Next, we have the New England Patriots, fresh off of what can only be described as a second half total collapse at home against the Bills, going on the road to play the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this one I think is a ridiculous line. This is a WTF line from our friends in Vegas. The Baltimore Ravens are in a death spiral. The Baltimore Ravens have to hold on for a winning record in the hopes that they can somehow have a win in your end game against the Steelers. The Patriots were in line to be a number 1 seed until a week ago.
Yeah.
And they still could be if the Broncos collapse. The Ravens are 3-point favorites over the Patriots. Do you think the Ravens have some kind of late season magic that we're not aware of? Did they somehow sign 10 new defensive players that I didn't hear about? I don't know.
I don't know. They must really like Ravens home field advantage because they're giving them, they're basically giving the Patriots 3 points in a way or whatever. But I mean, so if they're 3-point favorites, then are they basically, they're pretty much saying the Ravens are going to win the division? Is that what they're saying?
Well, according to ESPN's analytics, the Steelers win the division. The Ravens finish 9-8. And that may just be because the Ravens win a game, but they lose to the Steelers a second time. Maybe that's why it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think they win this game. I think the Ravens are on total life support going into the last 2 weeks because I think the Patriots spank them. I think the Patriots are going to be mad after last week, and maybe they're screwed out of the number 1 seed. But I think they're gonna have something to prove that they are not a team that's going to collapse late in the season. Whereas the Ravens, again, okay, so whatever, Lamar's a little bit healthier. Maybe they want to run the ball some more. Dude, their defense is still absolute trash. I don't care what they just did to the Bengals. The Bengals are a 4-win team. I don't care what happened between them and the Bengals. The Bengals are bad. So I would go Patriots all the way. I'd go Patriots money line. I don't need the 3 points. I'll go Patriots money line, no problem. And finally, Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Boy, if you want to have a top seed, you got to have it, Shane. And against another team starting a 44-year-old quarterback who's just trying to hold on for dear life to the playoffs. It's the San Francisco 49ers going on the road to play the Indianapolis Colts. Shane, let me give you this little factoid. Last week, the Seahawks were 13.5-point favorites over the Colts, but it ended up being a last-second game.
It's really close.
Now, the 49ers are only 5.5-point favorites.
Man, one game, and they're already giving Phillip Rivers a lot of confidence. Man, Phillip Rivers looked pretty good. Let's give him some, it's not too bad of a money line there.
I can't decide what it is. Is it, wow, Phillip Rivers is worth 10 more points? Is it, damn, the 49ers suck? Which one is it? Well, I don't know.
As the resident Niner fan here, I can probably say that they're looking at this as Niners run defense is not great. So I expect a lot of Jonathan Taylor up the middle, or around the tackles, all that stuff. I would fully expect a lot of Jonathan Taylor. But Phillip Rivers, he didn't look too bad throwing the ball, to check downs, 5-10 yards up the middle. Not that bad. He looked pretty good for someone who hadn't played in almost 5 years. So, hey, respect to Phillip Rivers. The interesting thing, too, that I learned about this is that the Colts are 31st in passing defense. So does that mean Brock Purdy is going to have to – is he going to – hey, Brock, do you see the 31st passing defense? Can you just go ahead and destroy that passing defense? If I was the coach, I would say, no, we're going to have a balance attack. We can't give Brock Purdy 45 attempts. No, that's crazy. He's going to throw a pick at some point, okay? It's going to happen.
Yes.
So don't do it on Monday Night Football.
This is my prediction. I think last week's game, it was like, as we discussed on the show, was Rivers coming back a feel-good story? Of course it was. Was it fun that we see him get to throw that one short touchdown? Of course. You see his old students at the high school going nuts. It warms the heart. Yeah. But the reality of it is he didn't play good. He played exactly how a 44-year-old off the street would look. He had no mobility. He could barely stumble over his own feet, and he was struggling to get the ball more than 5 or 10 yards accurately down the field. He has no rapport with the receivers. He's been there for 48 hours. I think, if anything, Phillip Rivers may look a little bit better this week than he did last week, but I think the 49ers are actually going to win handily because I think the 49ers are a better team than the Colts. The 49ers can send pressure on Rivers, and it's pretty much just a guaranteed sack or throwaway.
Can they get a sack? If they don't sack Phillip Rivers, that's Cam Ward, he's mobile. He can move around, no sack on him, whatever, even though he's the most sacked quarterback apparently right now, whatever. But if you can't sack Phillip Rivers, that's really bad for your pass rush.
Also, by the way, in last week's game where the Seahawks did win on a last-second field goal, the Colts defense played out of their mind to keep it a low-scoring fourth-quarter game.
Yeah.
I don't see the Colts defense repeating that performance 2 weeks in a row. So I actually is as much as it's nice to see and there's reason to believe Rivers turns it up a notch this week. I actually think that last week was more of the fluke and the 49ers win handily. And I'm not just saying that for you. I think the 49ers win by a couple of scores.
And it's possible too that DeForest Buckner is coming back to play. Oh, that's a good time for him to come back against the team he was on before that he was traded to. So yeah, congratulations to DeForest Buckner. You'll be facing off against Trent Williams and whoever's the right guard for the Niners right now.
Congratulations to all Buckners for your return to the NFL.
Yeah.
Shane, do you have a final thought?
Yeah, I hope you're right that the 49ers beat the Colts. Because like if they lose that game, I will come on here and I'll be crying like a baby. Because
I don't think they have any more shot of losing this week than they did last week, except for they gave up a few too many points to the Titans. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. It's like, come on, what's going on?
Just a few too many points to the Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to serve as my final thought is quit giving up 24 points to the Titans. You stop that. You stop that right now.
Well, Mike McCoy, you will not be the head coach for the Tennessee Titans next season. That means I hope not, because anyway. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.